Whoa, this Albedo figure looks proper. What in the world? What is that price? That's like 2,000 quid. That must be over $2,000. Who in the heck could buy that? Who, you might ask? Found just the guy. Meet Austin, a man I found on Reddit, a guy who actually works in a very similar industry to your boy the Miyazaki Man side. And we bonded over burning money for sexy plastic. In this episode, Austin explains to everyone how to get a technical job, change your career, make all the money you could ever dream of, to buy all the sexy plastic you could ever imagine. And I go completely off course talking about adult workers and baby slip and slide oil. Hey everyone, welcome to the Miyazaki Man Podcast. Regardless of fame or fortune, everyone in the anime-loving community has a chance to share their passion and love for their figures, their collection, Japan, life, universe, job, working here. Whatever you want to talk about, get in touch with your boy Sai. Without further ado, let's get on. Hey everyone, welcome to the Miyazaki Man Podcast. I'm very glad to be joined here by Insufficient Yogurt, aka Austin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome. And truth be told, this is like the first time we've actually talked properly. Like, I found you on Reddit, and the thing that really attracted to me to you, and I knew I had to speak to you as soon as I saw it, you pre-ordered the Albedo massive expensive figure. How much was it?
I did, about 21, well, I don't know what it was in yen, but in USD, Did you just lose my camera, or
yeah, your camera's gone to some trees, some lovely trees and stars in the sky.
Oh no!
Guys, something very interesting just happened. Two IT techs, two IT nerds here are having trouble with webcam. Sod's law. Good stuff. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Absolutely, but you've done something unforgivable. Sorry, very, very dangerous. Just on the Discord chat that we had this morning, you linked me to the AmiAmi bishoujo pre-owned section. Now, I've never actually looked at the pre-owned section of AmiAmi. I've always gone with pre-orders, but you told me it drops now, does it?
It does, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, I don't know what time it is exactly where you are, but here in Eastern Time, United States, about 9 p.m., is when the AmiAmi pre-owned figures drop, approximately. It just sort of depends on when the people working at AmiAmi decide to, drop things on the site.
Sure,
but if you keep refreshing after that, you will see the new figures that drop.
I see, and this is 10 a.m. where I am in Miyazaki, Japan. So how many do they usually drop? Is it like 100? Is it like 50? How many pages worth do I need to scroll through?
It varies pretty significantly from day to day. Typically, you can probably expect at least 20 pages. 20 pages, raw. Often as many as 30 or even 40 pages.
Yeah, and I'm just looking here, so nice hips. Just going to have a little close-up of that one. But this thing, I've seen this thing in the community. This is very popular, isn't it? Where's this from? Chocolate and vanilla. Usually quite expensive.
Chocolate and vanilla are from Nekopara,
meow, meow.
Which is an H game.
Oh, that's why they're a bit naughty sometimes. Novel. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah. That said, they've made it into an anime, and it's kind of a big franchise now. But they're very popular characters.
They are very popular. Yeah, like I love the designs and they look very cute. It's just I've already spent way too much on characters that I don't know yet. So if I get into that series, I think I might be in danger because these are usually expensive, aren't they, these ones?
They are, yeah. Some of the earlier ones that I have actually have gone up in value a huge amount. They're like 900 something USD these days, which is not what I paid for them.
That is amazing. The webcam bulked again, but I just want to take this quick opportunity to say special thanks to all the patrons supporting this channel: Sophia P, Insufficient Yogurt, Master Yao, James Y, Suntan Superman, Cobin, T, Dom P, Alex M, Ash W, A Aldridge. Next could be you. Every patron, no matter what tier, will get a free goodie from Japan courtesy of the Miyazaki Man, and the higher ranks can reserve a prize as well. Prizes going away are such as figurines, war scrolls, music boxes and more. Monthly giveaways as well, even for the £1 tier, so please sign up now, support the channel, make a mushroom boy a happy boy.
Did I lose you?
Yep, you're back now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. But yeah, so far nothing has dropped on AmiAmi yet for today. So when the drop happens, you'll notice a lot of like really popular figures, and they will disappear immediately.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. What I was saying in that little interim was people don't understand that even though some of these figures are expensive and a collection will be expensive, actually they're a good financial instrument and investment because they can actually replace your pension. These things appreciate in value, they're limited quality, they'll be worth more than cryptocurrency and more stable. It's a very fluid market. They are in demand and they will always be in demand because if you like a character, you're never not going to like the character usually. So they could replace your pension, right?
If you pick the right ones, they potentially could.
Indeed. What I'm struggling with AmiAmi though is there's not many sort options here, and I can't do by series. Like I use Hitsugaya a lot, and in here there's a lot of filtering options. Like if I was to translate this into English, you can sort like a degenerate. My Japanese is so. So if I you can sort by highest price, latest update, latest release order. You've got so many filters on price, on series and whatnot as well. So if I was to go into like drill down further and whatnot, you can sort by series, lists how many per series. So how do you find the thing that you want on the pre-owned drop, or do you have to scroll through the pages?
Well, there's a combination of options. So part of the reason why there are third-party tools for use with AmiAmi is exactly because of what you mentioned. It's kind of difficult to find the things that you need. So there's a tool called BuyFriend. BuyFriend,
okay.
BUY friend.moe, of course.
Oh, I've heard about
and you can basically like type in like a keyword essentially, and it'll just constantly refresh, and whenever like something new meets those criteria, it'll send you an email and alert you.
So you have to be on the ball really, because you mentioned that they disappear quickly. So literally you're going to have it open and refresh that thing. It must be something you really want. Actually, I've got too many things I want. That would be so dangerous. I need like a million tabs.
If it's actually even more difficult than that, because if the BuyFriend notifications are slower than like the actual
update
refresh rate of the
It's
site.
API, yeah. It goes through the API. That's why it takes some time to update.
I actually don't know whether it crawls the site for the HTML or whether it has an API connection or what. But either way, it's slower than if you were to just like stalk the page in your browser and like refresh it constantly. So if you see a figure that you really want, you have to like refresh real quick over and over again until it becomes available, and then you can F5. Get it. Yeah. And you got to be real fast about it because people are serious.
Absolutely. People, it's not fun and games. Anime figure collections is a serious business. When you get the thing you want, you're like, yes! And when you lose out, you're like, no!
Well, it's hard to tell whether the people doing this who are like really serious about it, if it's like a hobby thing for them or if they're like resellers.
Yeah, I understand. Makes sense to me. And that's the thing, like the one figure that I really, really wanted, and I don't actually own any statues yet. Seeing that's a lie. My very first statue arrived today, which we'll see later. There was a statue of Mai Shiranui from King of Fighters, and it was slightly damaged. And I love my damaged pre-owned unboxed figures because you get so much better value on them, even though in Japan they're still good quality. And I think it's just one of the slots or something had a scratch on it. And it was like 77,000 yen it went for on Yahoo Auctions. And I was bidding all the way up to 70,000 yen. I thought, I spent a lot this month, and then I got outbid last minute. I thought, nah, I can't go any higher. And the only one available left, and I'll show you in a bit, HMO Maishiro no Isachu, is like nearly 200,000 yen or something, like double, nearly triple what I paid for. So one day maybe. But the real reason why, speaking of expensive figures, the real reason why is we somehow connected and I found you, and thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I found your Reddit post. I'll edit this out, by the way, but do you know it got deleted? It got removed.
It did, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's because I did like an AMA sort of thing, and they didn't like that. But you can see, in the screen that it had 136 comments. It was
really popular.
It was very popular, and I don't entirely know why it was deleted, but here we are.
Jealousy. I'll call it jealousy from mods and whatnot. I'll delete this section out.
I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take it.
It was the same as my Kakagurui thing when it got deleted as well. There was nothing dodgy in there. It's just discussing the formula. Okay, let's get back to it. Yep. So, wow. So I noticed this post on Reddit from you, and what does it say? I PO'd the Nihon Ningyo Albedo, and Ningyo means figure, Albedo, and paid up front. Ask me anything, and that amount of money, 136 comments, a lot of feedback there. How did you make the decision to splurge out on this amazing figure? I mean, this figure is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, none of the other figures in this line, which, and forgive me, I've forgotten the name of the company that creates the kimonos for them, but none of the other figures in this line really sort of called to me the way that this one did. And it just, I like Albedo as a character. I like Overlord. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with Overlord, but we can get into that another time. But I do love the character of Albedo, and I really feel, given her size and the quality that goes into her, that she'll make a really great addition to my collection.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. And when you're looking at spending so much for a figure, what are the fine details that really make or break it? Is it the face? Is it how you see it from a distance? Is it the material? Is it the attention to detail, the pose? What's the judgment on it?
I think at the end of the day, it's all of the above. Typically, at least for me, when I look at a figure, I look at sort of the whole thing. Like, first of all, how does it look, from afar? Because, when people, look at it, or when I look at it in my collection, I won't be like getting up super close and,
sure.
Staring at it all the time. I'll kind of be looking at it from afar.
Display piece.
So,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my initial criteria. Like, does it look good from afar? And this one very much does. I love the way that her kimono hangs, and she's got the fan and the wings, and like just everything is top notch for me. Now, once a figure meets those criteria, then I start looking at the details. How does the face look? What's the manufacturer? How good is the manufacturer likely to be? Is the finished product likely to look like the prototype? Stuff like that. So in this case, I know a lot of people were kind of critical of her face, but I think that the face is meant to look a little strange in this case, because she's wearing effectively like geisha makeup.
Yeah.
So it's not her normal, just typical Albedo face, and that's part of what I like about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also have the Eastream swimsuit Albedo.
Oh yeah.
I've pre-ordered the bunny, even though I know people.
Bunny, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a big bunny, and yes, I know she's a little curvier than she is in the show, but that's fine with me. I don't have any problem with that. And I know some people have issues with the horns and the ears. I do not have an issue with that either. So I've got a lot of Albedo stuff. I also have the Sobin version, which is more of a fashionable sort of style for her, which I love. And so I do love Albedo. I did not order the 1/1 bust.
Oh, that yeah. You're considering it though. I bet you're considering it.
I did think about it. I will admit I did think about it, but I decided, that's a little too much. I don't want to have like a whole ass shrine to Albedo. Exactly.
Brilliant. Actually, speaking of which, I opened that freeing link just now. I'm sure I saw one out. This one. Have you got this one?
I don't have that one. And I actually just saw that one come up on AmiAmi Pre-Owned the other day. And I've seen it come up a couple of times. But, ultimately, it doesn't really do it for me as much. I feel like from afar, it doesn't look as good as they want to charge for it these days.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you. So in
but
terms
that's just
of,
me.
Yeah, no, of course. You've already got the best ones. The ones that I think really stand out. You've made the good choices. So you've got that lovely kimono figure. The bunny one is outstanding. I mean, it's very unique. You've got the wings, you've got all the accessories, the horns, and everything like that. Some of the freeing bunnies are very generic, but obviously that one is not. It's real to the character. That's really good.
It is, and I try to avoid the quote unquote kind of generic looking bunnies. I like the ones that have a little more personality, have some either accessories or poses or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense to me. More dynamic. You feel it's more value rather than just putting the character's face in a upright, standing black suited bunny. It's just it's a money grab, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, I think it is. And personally speaking, I love Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma. And but I haven't bought any of the bunny figures because they just didn't really do it for me. They looked kind of plain to me. And your mileage may vary, and that's cool. Not every figure has to appeal to me.
Sure, indeed. There's an audience for all those kind of things. I love that show. Mamacita Maimi absolutely loves that show as well. I'm going to show you a little secret. Let me see if I can find it for you. This is the most expensive war scroll that I have so far. But I have a is it in here? It will be in here. We'll do another time. I need to sort through the war scroll collection. But there's this Shokugeki no Soma war scroll of them all in an onsen, in a hot spring. And
nice.
That thing costs like 9,000 yen or something like that. Ridiculous for a war scroll, right? I usually pay like 500 yen for it. But it's very nice. Very nice.
Excellent. My favorite Food Wars story is I have a friend whose family is Japanese. She lives here in the States. She's, American for all intents and purposes. But her mother and father are both Japanese living in Japan.
Sure.
And her mom loves to read the Shokugeki no Soma, the Food Wars manga.
Yeah.
and the manga has recipes from the
show,
the story.
Oh wow!
In there, and she loves to read. She's like an old Japanese woman, and she loves to read the manga and then make the recipes. And that's just the most wholesome thing I have ever heard.
I love that. I love that so much, and you'll find that a lot in Japan as well. The fact that the older generation here are really stylish. I saw some grandma about 80 years old yesterday, flashy pink Asics. She's wearing crop top and everything like that. Hair all done up. They are really stylish.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that, was sort of instantly noticeable to me when I visited Japan, which was, everybody looks good.
Yeah.
Regardless of body type or whatever, everybody dresses nicely.
Appropriately, nicely. They look flash. They look very stylish. They put consideration towards their look. Like something I found a lot, and I really stand out like a sore thumb here, is because a lot of the males here really are into their face, no matter how they look, right? Whether good looking or not looking. They do their eyebrows. They pluck stuff. They use products. I use cold water, and that's about it. And the cheapest shampoo I can buy. I look tragic, but it is what it is.
Honestly, that's pretty typical for Western, folks. It's just not really, at least at this point in time. Now, if we go back a couple hundred years, that changes significantly. But right now, it's less common for Western men to, do themselves up.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because sometimes, especially in the UK, there's a bit of a culture around, I wouldn't say it's a full-on bullying culture, but people love to put each other down. So if there's something that they can poke out about your masculinity or anything like that, they'll really poke at home, and those are the kind of people as well that somehow get popular because they're quite funny, quite hilarious. They, that kind of crowd mentality. So it's a weird one, but yeah, I completely understand.
It's easy to be funny at somebody else's expense.
Yes, very true, unfortunately. Whereas I think that's one of the main decisions why we decided to move to Mumsy Tamami's hometown of Miyazaki, coming to Japan, relocating, is because when you're intelligent, especially in the UK, especially with an Asian upbringing, it's very easy, as you mentioned, to be put down. Whereas in Japan, I found, and especially being told by, parents who've raised kids here, intelligence and getting top marks is well respected, and you're really, like, wow, you're doing well, amazing, gambate kind of thing, rather than trying to put you down. And it's the kind of really the kids who are falling behind and whatnot. They're not usually the super popular and super hilarious. You just kind of feel sorry for them rather than them being center attention and hilarious.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's kind of a shame that that it works that way, but here we are.
In terms of the figure purchase, then what kind of job do you need to be able to finance such a figure? I'm sure, like, even if people wanted it, not a lot of people could afford it, especially paying up front.
That is very true, especially in this economy, among other things. I don't know how insulated y'all are in Japan from the way things are going economically in the States right now, but things are not great economically speaking here in America. So I feel very privileged to be in a place where I can afford these things. I'm a software engineer, so I can afford nicer things, and so I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like people always talk about disposable income and essentials and whatnot, but I definitely believe, I'm of the kind of opinion that if there's something you really, really want, you can probably get it if you save up for it. Instead of buying the 4 or 5 different figurines that you like but not your absolute favorite, if you made the choice, you could decide not to buy them and buy the one that you really, really want, right? So you have a fixed amount of disposable income. What if you were to save that month on month? That's still the same amount of money you'd spend at the end of, let's say, 6 months, rather than splurging it on like 5, 6, 8 different figurines. You could buy the one you really want, and that will be your centerpiece. That's something that a lot of people struggle to do. I think people get too excited and the thrill of the purchase and opening the box that they just click, 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 and then the budget's gone.
Well, it's a very complex issue because, a lot of the folks... all right, so this is horrible that this is the case, and yet it is the case that people who make the least tend to have to work the most.
Yes.
And as a result, the more you work and the harder you have to work, the more difficult it is to delay the gratification of spending the money that you've earned. So it literally becomes easier to save the more money you make, like, all else accounted for. So it's kind of awful, and I feel very bad. And I know this from personal experience because I have not always been a software engineer. I started out, I went to college. My degree was in creative writing. I, was a teacher. I've worked at schools, and teachers don't make a lot of money these days, and so
and they work hard as well. They long hours. They work hard.
Yeah.
It's a stressful job. Yeah,
absolutely. And they're even worse. They're not necessarily supported. I don't want to say emotionally, but they don't have the backing per se of their administration at their institutions, and so it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and discouraged, and it's rough. And that was why I sort of had this moment in my life where I recognized that this is just not a sustainable lifestyle for me.
Indeed.
And that was what started
change, right?
me. Yeah, that was what started me on my journey toward tech.
Yeah, and I think that was a very wise decision because obviously now you're in a much better place where you can afford Albedo figurines in kimono dresses. So I think it's all worked out fantastically well. And in that regard, props to you as well because you have to change your life around in order to do that. It's not just something you can do, you have to put in the effort, you have to put in the graft, you have to learn the coding practices. I'm assuming C++, C#, that kind of thing. You have to work your way up the ladder, you know, gain the recognition that your code is best practice, and, you know, really be productive and deliver on your projects. And, you know, it's a completely different mentality working in a product team and with your product cycle and then delivery cycle, your project managers. So
it is. Yeah. It's a very different experience than working in other fields. You know, and particularly not just working as a software engineer, but obtaining all of the skills necessary to get a job as a software engineer is its own set of trials and tribulations. And going into that process of learning and acquiring skills and knowledge is almost its own career unto itself, separate from being a software engineer. And, you know, of course, those skills are in a lot of ways essential to being a software engineer, because you're expected to be able to learn new skills on your own and, you know,
yes,
stay on top of new developments and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's a skill worth cultivating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think actually, just thinking about this out loud, we follow a very similar path, because I also taught English for a while. I also did a lot of life coaching and personal training, and that aids itself nicely, because what you get in that regard, especially I'm a software consultant, I'm Salesforce consultant at the moment, an architect, you get the communication skills and the teaching skills and be able to express and elaborate on the detail to even the layman, right? So people who don't understand technical lingo, you understand from that teaching basis how to communicate your point across, or a particular technical issue across, in the way that pure devs who started in the techie dev world may struggle. So you have the softer skills to accompany that, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I can't overstate the importance of having soft skills in a hard skill career. It has been a tremendous help to me. And, you know, a lot of people assume that hard skills are sort of the be all end all of being a software engineer, but that's frankly just not the case. You know, everybody in every position at every level has to work with other people. And so
Indeed, yep,
being able to, you know, work well with others and communicate ideas and concepts, especially to people who may not have the same level of technical expertise, is tremendously important.
Absolutely. No, I completely agreed. And in that regard as well, so, you know, you've worked your way up now, you've got the disposable income, you've got a good career, you can enjoy the hobby. How much would you say that you would spend? What is the limit that you would spend a month without going, I've gone overboard there this month?
You know, I'll be totally honest. I try not to think about it.
I know, self-reflection in this category is painful, because I keep an Excel spreadsheet of my purchases and I'm like, there's too many zeros there. I'm in a bit of trouble. Too many pre-orders.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter how many I make. Like, any number make me feel bad. So I try to just not think about it and kind of relax and just, you know, live my life.
Oh, Austin, I lost you for the last minute there. After I said too many pre-orders, I lost you for a brief moment. So can you recap just the last minute?
Yeah, you know, nearly any number of orders or pre-orders is enough to make me be like, oh no, I need to cut back. So I just try not to look. And, you know, I know that I know how much I make, and I know what my expenses are. So I just try to stay within that, you know.
Stay within your means.
Exactly.
Yeah. Indeed. So yeah, this was something I was interested in the figure collection as well. So everyone has a finite space in your house or your accommodation. Obviously, I'm in a rented apartment at the moment I'm using for my office, so my space is very limited. But there's figures that are always coming out and that you want to get, that you pre-order. What do you do when you run out of space? Do you sell the ones that you're not such a fan of? Do you store them away somewhere? How do you manage the space and the storage of figures and display of figures?
That's an excellent question, and one that I don't think that there's a perfect answer to. So I'm in a rental myself at the moment because I'm renovating my house. But in my house, I have, my basement office. So I have a fair bit of space in which I can display figures. So I have yet to run out of display space. But I have definitely run out of space for keeping all the boxes of figures. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, it hurts my heart to have to throw away some of those boxes. But, there's just no other way. I can't, like if I fold up the boxes, I could potentially keep the boxes. But if I'm getting rid of the blister packs, that fit inside of them, there's kind of not really any point any longer, because you can no longer sell them as, like in good condition exactly. So without the blister. So I've just been getting rid of the cardboard boxes and the blister packs and everything, and it hurts, but there's just no other way.
Yeah, it is painful. I completely live in that reality at the moment because I'm just ordering so many figures, figure on figure, boxes arrive, and I've literally got no space except from stacking them up. So I am having to throw away the boxes, the blister packs. I'm putting no value in the boxes and blister packs at the moment because, I don't really intend to sell a lot of the stuff I buy. But I was thinking I'm going to run out of space, and there's figures that are coming out that I really, really want to get, right? So my kind of concept is, I'm going to display the figures. I'm going to enjoy them. But when the time comes to replace them or I need the space, I'm creating this channel, this brand for, the Weeb community at the moment, Weeb Talk. I will give them out to patrons, people who support the channel, even, £1 a month, £5 a month, whatever they want to donate. At the end of, let's say, a year of supporting and loyalty, the intention is that obviously they donate through Patreon to support the channel, support the brand, support what we're doing. But I just want to give something in return as a thank you for, being a supporter for a year. So then they can choose a prize at any given tier. It's got to be fair for everyone. And, it is what it is. It's unboxed. I've displayed it. I've enjoyed it. But hey, you've supported me. And if you find something that you really like as a thank you for supporting me at that particular tier, choose the one that you like, the character you like. And I'm very happy to, package it nicely, protected, ship it away to you, and then you can enjoy it. You know what you're getting, right? There's pictures, it's unboxed, but it's still a nice figure. And at the end of the day, you get all the benefits of a particular tier, and this is just my way of kind of saying thank you for your loyalty, and hopefully we can continue to support each other. So that's my kind of take on it.
Yeah, there's a pretty active community around people selling unboxed used figures, and it's nice to be able to know ahead of time that somebody took good care of the figure. Yeah. Because a lot of times, on eBay, like you're just taking your chances,
Oh yeah, you don't know that person, you don't have all the pictures, they're not going to send you a video or anything like that. Whereas this kind of thing is, we've created some kind of engagement connection already, right? You're supporting the channel. I'm very thankful to you. I could send as many videos or pictures or screen shares. I could host it right here in front of the camera. Where's the camera? It's here. Right here,
Sure.
So, yeah. Yeah, no, but I still can't believe it. I'm just trying to think out loud now. What is the most expensive figure I got? I told you the statue arrived this morning today, right? So
yeah, let's see it.
This one's only 42,000, but this is the Ikitusen Kanu Unchou statue, and the box is pretty big.
Oh, and that's by. Is that by Volks?
Yes, by Volks. It's a pre-painted, coloured.
That's a good company.
Statue, and I thought it looked immaculate. There's so much detailing on this thing, and she's a quality character. And the thing I really, really like about her, right, as you saw with some figures, the bust and the proportions are massively overstated on a lot of figures. Whereas I prefer it, curvy, but still proportionate. And she is that. She has that kind of look. I guess you can see more closely in this little pamphlet that came with it. But I thought the colours really pop as well. It's kind of dragon, royal kind of theme. So I thought, why not treat myself to this nice little.
Yeah, no, I really love all the detail on her armor and the weapon, and looks great.
That's it. And actually, no, I say a lie. That's 42,300 yen. Another figure arrived at the start of the week, and this was my most expensive one. Now, this was a grail, like Holy Grail, and I could not believe I got it. And I don't mind damaged figures as long as I display it, I fix it up. The Black Lagoon Levy bunny figure with the tights.
Nice.
Yeah. I had this on pre-order, AmiAmi, the raw version, and then I saw this on Yahoo Auctions, and the bidding wasn't going so high because I think her ears are snapped, so I just need to super glue where the join of the ear is in the head. But when you put it on, you don't know because you can't see at the top of her head, and it's just ears, right? Everything else looks spot on from the pictures. So I think this one came to about... I bid at around 35,000 yen, and then it got up to about 40,000 yen, but plus tax and plus shipping, it ended up about 47,000 yen. So, but you know... I think she's one of my top 3 bunnies I've ever seen because the pose is dynamic, she's a quality character, she's, you know, not very generic. There's a pink version of this as well that I think is super, super rare, but I'll never get that. It's way too expensive.
No, me neither. I have pre-ordered the bare leg version of that one.
Yeah.
Sadly, I missed the stocking version, but I'm not going to pass on the bare leg version.
I know, and there's that big comparison at the moment. Like bare-legged versions don't do so well in the aftermarket and hold a value, but some of the figures you're not going to get them unless you get the bare-leg version, and the figure itself is already really nice, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, there are a number of figures that I have gotten where I just have not really cared about the aftermarket value. Because, you know, they're characters that are, you know, meaningful to me in some way, or, you know, otherwise are appeal to me in some way that I'm not buying them to resell. I don't anticipate ever reselling them.
Indeed. You know, there's a lot of sentimental value there and a connection there. You get it because you enjoy it, you like it. Some people treat it as a business prospect and, you know, make financial decisions. But at the end of the day, this is a hobby and you're collecting because, you know, you like it. Not because you want to sell it in the future. Enjoy your figure, isn't it? You've got it. Appreciate it. Enjoy it.
I think it's a lot more common in Japan, where space is very limited, that people will essentially have like rotating displays. Not physically rotating, but I mean, you know, they'll get in new figures and sell old figures, and so they keep all the boxes, they keep all the packaging, and you know, they intend from the start to eventually pass it on so that they can have a new display.
You're right, and that is actually an amazing point on the lifestyle of Japan. I've completely noticed it as well. The second-hand market in Japan is absolutely booming. You get multi-story buildings of furniture, clothes, shoes, figurines in immaculate condition because people are after the latest trends, the latest fashion, the latest iPhone, right? Last season's one is out of date, is out of fashion, is out of style. Keep it in good condition, they sell it on to buy the new one, in which case people like me who scrub the second-hand market, it's an absolute gold mine and treasure mine. And you're right with the figures, that's what they do, right? The figures that they don't want anymore, they sell it off to the pre-owned stores who resell it on to people like us.
Absolutely. And, you know, honestly, even like B or C quality pre-owned figures on AmiAmi, I rarely have issues with because Japanese people are very meticulous because they buy them with the intent of reselling them at some point. So they take very good care of them. They keep all of the little plastic parts and everything.
Yes.
And on that note, I just noticed that AmiAmi has dropped the first set of pre-owned figures for tonight.
Oh, yeah? Oh, what time is it over there for you?
Right now it is 9:47 p.m.
Ah, okay, yeah. So significant time difference.
Typically it's closer to 9, but like I said, it depends very strongly on how busy the AmiAmi folks are and like what's going on with them. For example, we had a pretty big delay a couple of days ago when the Touhou Plushes dropped.
Oh.
And man, let me tell you, people go bonkers for those Touhou Plushes. Wow.
I need to load up on Touhou Plushes, and I have not gotten into that yet, but it sounds dangerous to me. If I get into that, I might hoard.
well, they made sort of like a limited run, and it was like a very special thing, and so, you know, people were like, you know, banging the refresh key over and over again to get their plushes.
I hear you. Yeah, actually, now just thinking about this, because of the differences in experience of what you would do when you order and what I would do, do you need to pay customs? Do you need to... Is there a customs charge when they come into America?
If it is above a certain price, I believe there is, but I think that price is fairly high. So it is rare that I have to pay customs for a figure. I believe that price is like over $1,000 or $1,200 or USD, something like that. So it's extremely rare. I don't think I've ever paid customs on a figure at this point.
That's thankful to know, because that would price people out, isn't it? If you have to pay on top of what you're already paying for, and shipping must be so expensive. How do you handle the shipping? That's an additional cost on every delivery, isn't it?
It is, and it just really depends. It depends on the size and weight of the figure. Some of them are actually quite reasonably priced, shipping wise. It just really depends. It can go anywhere from $20 all the way up to 150 probably, something like that, USD, of course.
Right.
But that's only for the really big ones.
Yeah.
And that's for air.
Then. Oh, is it? Okay, so you can go by air and ship, right? So
yeah, ship rarely gets above like 30 or 40 USD, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, just thinking out loud here, because I'm just thinking, like, when we relocated to Japan, we moved 32 boxes, obviously our whole life, right? 32 boxes I think it was by ship, and it arrived in 4 months time, but we didn't pay that much. I think we paid something like £600 for 32 really, really big boxes of stuff. So shipping to Japan was pretty good, but obviously we combined everything to send it in one batch. So I guess when you buy figures and pre-orders and other stuff in Japan, AmiAmi allows you to batch things together, and I'm assuming that's how you save on shipping, isn't it? You get en masse.
Yeah, well, especially via sea. If you put stuff on a boat, combine it all together, it doesn't really increase the price tremendously. So if I have a bunch of them all coming due at the same time, often I'll group them together and bunch them up so that they can ship by sea. That said, if it's one at a time, if it's a smaller figure or whatever, I don't mind paying $20-$30 for air. That's fine.
Yeah, of course, get it up front, and it's already, price is relatively cheap, and you're wanting to get it, so why not enjoy it sooner?
Yeah, or if it's a figure that I'm like super looking forward to, then I'll probably spring for the air price, even if it's a little pricier.
Yeah, no, it completely makes sense to me. Sometimes I'm impatient. I just want to get my hands on it. And when I was in the UK, I didn't really order too many to the UK, only the ones that I really had to get immediately. And the reasoning behind that was because obviously my missus is Japanese. I have some connections in Japan. I stored a lot of pre-orders at my in-laws' house, so I just put them there.
I would do the same thing. Cannot blame you.
Yeah. God, I'm sorry, people. But I took up so much of my room with boxes and boxes. I will reveal the extent of it one day. I will post the pictures of how much storage space I took in the house. Scary. But
same. When I finish the renovation in my house, and I have to unbox all of the figures that I've received between when it started and when it finished, that is going to be an undertaking.
It'll be quite look, listen, man, when you do that, we're recording the whole thing. We're going to do it live. We're going to do it live.
That's going to be like a 4-hour video.
It'll be completely worth it. 4 hours of pure entertainment. I'll be like,
right?
How did you get that? And you haven't opened it? You stored it?
Yeah, one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to unboxing and displaying, which I have in box form here in the rental house because I don't want to leave it in my main house because I love it a lot. It's a grail for me that I'm really looking forward to. I'll actually grab the box and show you real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Do it. Oh yeah, high edge.
So we
quality.
We have the Kalneka crab version here. I also have her regular like Vocaloid version.
Yeah.
As well as the normal 2 arms, 2 legs version.
Absolutely epic.
But I'm a big fan of, like horror and like, that sort of stuff. And so these figures just really called out to me.
She stands out. No matter where you display her, right? She will pop. You can't take your eyes. You'll go straight to it. It's like, what? I love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. And that's the thing about grails, right? It's very rare that you see a kind of non-dynamic grail. Grails are usually something that they're a centerpiece. They stand out. They pop, even from a distance or up close. And when you look at the details, they they are stunning. And I think when you open that, wow, happy days.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
I can imagine. When's your place ready? When's your place ready to move back?
Not until November, so I've got a while.
Okay. Yeah, a little while. Okay. That's not too bad though. Not too bad.
Yeah, that's
2 months.
I don't know what we're in July, coming up on August. So so like 3, maybe 4,
3 or 4 months.
Something like that.
Not bad. So we'll pin in a date to do the live figure unveiling.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Good stuff. And what are we doing now? We're coming on 45 minutes at the moment. We haven't even started on your adventures in Japan. You told me that you spent some time in Japan. Let's brief on the what you actually did, the main overview of your trip to Japan, and the next episode let's cover it in detail. Let's go through the whole experience, pros and cons, ups and downs.
Sure. Well, the first time I came to Japan, I did a study abroad program as a part of my undergraduate degree. I studied at Sophia University, known in Japanese as Joshi Daigaku. It was very hard coming from America. The classes were just significantly harder. Not only that, but they study, they take classes 6 days a week, which is which is a big adjustment. I was born and raised in America, so 5 days was just what I've been used to for my whole life.
Standard,
so 6 days, only having 1 day off a week, it doesn't necessarily sound that bad, maybe, I guess, but it's tough.
It's tough. It is very tough. I can completely relate to you because I will kind of explain in detail in another video, but I managed to sneak into private school on an assisted place, which is kind of like a scholarship before the UK government changed because of my math and English skill at the time. And they did half a day on Saturday. And when you are, how old was I? Between 6 years old and 11 years old, having half of your Saturday devoted to studying pretty difficult stuff, because from public school to private school is already a hard transition, right? They're going so much faster and it's such high level, but to lose part of your weekend, it's like, no.
It's tough, and especially as a foreigner who wants to explore Tokyo and experience Japan, only having 1 day a week is pretty rough.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? Because obviously, everyone probably has Japan on their bucket list, and when you go there, you want the time to explore, to relax, to interact, to try the food, to go shopping, and when time is short and you're worried about your homework and your studies and progressing, and you're actually in the thick of it as well. Wow, how did you keep the balance? How did you?
Like I said, it was tough. Well, what made it kind of bearable was that I was studying the language, at a Japanese university in Japan. So, studying the language really helped me kind of make the most of the time that I did have, because, I didn't have to spend so much time fumbling around with, translation or whatever. It was a lot easier to navigate. And this was, some number of years ago, of course, so it was not as easy back then to just pull out your phone and GPS everywhere,
of course.
Do
the real way, the hard way, the authentic way, not just the AI way.
So it was tough, not gonna lie. It's a lot easier these days with Google Translate and Google Maps and everything at your disposal. So yeah, I'm a little jealous.
No, I completely I'm on the same wavelength as you. Like even for me now, with access to all of the translation tools, my Japanese, unfortunate to say, is quite broken. So I can communicate exactly what I want, but I never learned officially. So it's very broken in terms of grammar. It's quite robotic. It's quite babyish in the way I communicate.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to put the time into learning properly. And I've got no excuses really, because my missus runs a Japanese teaching business, which I've set up for her online, offering free lessons, by the way. I'll put the description below. So when time permits, I will get my act into gear and learn Japan properly, because it's only when you really embrace yourself, I live here now, right? Embrace yourself and immerse yourself in the language, use it every day, none of the Japanglish, that you can really enjoy Japan and all the little niche stuff, away from the center where all the menus are in kanji and the little izakayas and all the stuff that's really native and local, not just the touristy attractions. That's when you can really say, wow, I've seen Japan.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Yeah. No, I mean, we could talk all day, hours on end about Japan, and we will. But yeah, I think as a digest for people tuning into the Miyazaki Man podcast, I think we've covered our lovely expensive figure, and I'm still so envious. I'm thinking whether I need to purchase. I want a big centerpiece like you've got. I've got that Kanu Unchou statue from Ikatusen, but I want bigger and grander. The kind of illusions of grandeur are in my head now, so I might need to pull the trigger on something. But
well, definitely.
Yeah, no, thank you.
As soon as I receive the Japanese doll Albedo figure, I will definitely take pictures, detail shots of the construction of the kimono, of all the little details. So hopefully everybody can enjoy it with me.
Appreciate it, and let's do a spotlight on it as well. Take all the pictures, take the video, we'll do it in the podcast, but also I'll make an article on msinevitable.com as well and say, this is what you aspire to get when you're collecting figures. You need something like this in your collection to say, not only is my collection grand and beautiful, but I've made it in life as well because I can afford it.
It's true. Facts.
So it's good. Listen to this man, everyone. He's a successful man. Envious. I bow down to your greatness and your knowledge. But it's been really good. I really enjoyed this. It's really chill. It's really, really fun. Easy to talk to. I'm such a weeb otaku as well. So I just want banter and someone to chat to, and it brings people together, right? We never met face to face. We literally talked DMs for one day or a few hours, and then I was like, dude, let's get onto video and let's talk.
No, it's true. It's been a lot of fun. And I
appreciate.
Additionally, I also keep on top of the seasonal anime. So I don't know if you keep up on what's airing currently, but if you do, I would love to talk about it.
Let's do that as well. So we got two pending then. One about life in Japan, one about the seasonal anime. And actually, on the topic of seasonal anime, right? Something I've noticed is a lot of these one-off animes or additional ones, like the spin-offs or the additional ones, don't get so many figurines. They don't really have the biggest variety. The ones that are well established, you've got your One Pieces, High School, DxD, all the stuff that's popular in Japan. They get millions of figures, but some of the series are really unloved. They don't get much kind of coverage in terms of figure production.
So I don't know if you saw, but in the sub on Reddit, the anime figures sub, there was a person, I don't know their gender, who works in the figure industry, and they visited the Prime One Studios headquarters.
I think I saw that. Yeah,
they were kind enough to post some pictures of their experience.
Yeah.
But what was particularly noteworthy about that post is that in the comments, they were kind enough to answer some questions about the industry. Right. So I took advantage of that, and I asked a couple of questions that had been sort of on the top of my mind for quite a long time. So, for example, why don't we get more male characters?
Sure.
I was interested, is it just a question of they don't sell very well, or is it is there also a cultural component where the people who make these decisions at these companies just have sort of a learned experience of just not doing that. And what they said was that it's a little bit of both, and that I was a little bit surprised that the people who work at these figure companies do have some amount of say in what gets made or what does not get made.
Right.
It is not strictly a financial decision. It is not strictly based on how much money a figure has made, or how many things of a character there already are, or whatever. I'm sure those are taken into account, but there is room for people within the company to say, I really love this character, or I really love this series. I want to make figures, for this character or this series.
Okay, that's a preference.
Yeah, and so I thought that was fascinating. And so, it is possible, based on that maybe if you, go on Japanese Twitter and, hit up some of these people who work at these companies and convince them that, so-and-so figure is...
I need to make my networking connection. I've already made so many connections, you would not believe it, right? People who can help source me really rare figurines. If I get them in there, all my characters... I tell you what, my favorite game of all time, Genzo Suikoden, it might not come back because of Konami, but the very limited figures, I've got all the figures of them, I need to display it one day as well. All the old school stuff, I'm like, dude, you've got the ability, make something for me.
Absolutely understand. I think everybody, probably also the people watching this, have some sort of pet figure or character or series that they desperately want there to be a figure of, and there isn't.
Yeah, and certain poses and certain quality and such. You know what? I've got to do that. That's got to be my goal for next year, right? Make the connections in the industry and, little buddy. And then what I say is, people, you be friends with me and I will put a word in for you. Get that figure made.
Just slip you a couple of bucks under the table and you'll put a good word in.
Design me some chibis, design me some banners, come on the podcast. But that's quite surprising though. Like you mentioned that comment around the male... There's not so many male figurines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find something. Bear with me a second.
Sure. I like the back of your chair.
Oh yeah. Hold on. So I'm really into Wallscroll lately. Okay, if they made like figures like our lovely boy Eren Jaeger here, right? Absolutely ripped. I'm sure this would be popular and this would sell. Heck, I would buy like 10 of these things. Just surround myself, and this is what you need to aspire to. Be a goddamn evil genius who's absolutely ripped and envious from Captain Levi there.
Funny you should mention that. Do you know anything about the resin market?
Yeah, I've only just briefly kind of looked at it, just because I've joined that Reddit lately, and I saw some of the statues that people were talking about. So there's some naked guy figures on the market.
Oh yeah, the resin market is thirsty as hell. And they make all kinds of like unlicensed figures, so they'll take your popular characters and just make them naked, and they do not give a damn.
How did they get away with it? How did they not get sued by the series owner or the intellectual property owners?
They're Chinese for the most part, and China doesn't respect intellectual property rights.
Is that right? So they can't be sued from abroad.
Right. Yes, that's correct. Well, that's why you see a lot of bootlegs of like American content in China, for example. China does not respect any other country's property rights or copyrights.
I see. So this is getting my intellectual juices going, because from my mum's side, who has a Chinese heritage, and she is absolutely social and interactive, and doesn't stop talking. Right, she's got many connections over there. Maybe I can get her to convince them to make the figures I like too.
Could be. You just got to get someone to design them.
Yeah. I mean, some things that the official companies, like the Suikoden figures, will never see the light of day, because Konami, I don't know why they won't release the intellectual property. Have you are you aware of Suikoden, Genzo Suikoden, as a RPG series?
No. What's the English name? Do you know?
So it's spelled Suikoden.
Suikoden. Of course I know Suikoden. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Perfect. My favorite series of all time. So.
Did you see? Okay, here is like an old school reference. Did you see the very short-lived OVA anime based on Suikoden?
OVA anime, what's it called?
It's called Suikoden Demon Century.
I don't know.
Is
it a modern one? Is it an old one?
It's old. It's from sometime in the 90s.
Okay.
And it's just one episode. It's an OVA.
Yeah.
And it's totally ridiculous. It has nothing to do with any of the games. It has like the concept of the like 108 heroes and like the whole like thing. But it's like a totally separate thing from the games.
Wow. I need to find it. Yeah, I'm going to look
bonkers.
For that.
Bonkers.
I love bonkers stuff, especially because Suikoden as a concept as well, right? Suikoden. It's did you see the trailer? The trailer for the Suikoden game in Japan?
No.
The very first one, they showed no gameplay footage. They showed a woman behind a tree, a real life woman, walking out into a forest with a song that is not on the game, and then they said, "Genzo Suikoden" coming out.
I love that. It's the same thing they did for some of the Zelda games. Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of the like Zelda 1, like for the Nintendo. The advertisements for that are just, they've got like ads of like people, like real like live people like dressed up as the characters, like dancing, and like it is out of this world. Highly recommended.
Yeah, I absolutely like. Yes, back to the topic of Suikoden. They're making that game Eiyudan Chronicles, right? So it's an intellectual, spiritual successor of Suikoden because Konami are holding it hostage, and the Murayama, I think his name's Murayama, the directors got all the old crew together, and they all dressed as these kind of RPG typical characters, your tank, your hero, your major kind of thing, and they did this really cringy cosplay thing, saying old school RPG coming back, and that kind of thing.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, no.
I used to get my anime via fan subs on VHS tapes, and often they were recorded off of television, and they would include the television commercials. And so I just like my introduction to anime was very like it included these like just totally out there commercials, and I just really love the way Japanese companies put these ads together. It's totally alien to like the Western experience.
It's
totally
crazy.
bonkers.
You cannot get away with some of the stuff that they do here. I saw on TV in daytime, right? They had these probably adult female, like adult workers in the adult industry, right? Do a slip and slide on this inflatable dinghy with oil, right? Slip and slide and just bounce into businessmen. And you know what the advert was for? It was for baby oil. Moisturize your baby.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic.
Never change. You never change, Japan.
Nope.
Oh, no. Listen, Austin, it's been an absolutely fantastic ride. I really enjoyed every second of it. Thank you so much for coming and joining the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Indeed. So yeah, no, I think we'll leave it there for the viewing audience. Tune in to more Miyazaki Man Podcast for more weeb banter, good fun, and everything about Japan. And Austin, let's do this again next week. Let's do this regularly.
Sounds good. Take care.
Cool. And, yep. Just before you go, present for you. We know we love the ladies. You love the ladies. I love the ladies. This nice one here, coming to you as a thank you for joining the show.
I can't see what it is.
You can't see what it is.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yep, no worries at all. Oh, I realised because this software splits the screen, I've got a wider screen of my viewing, but on our combined one, I can only see half of you and half of me, which is why you probably couldn't see it.
Yep. But thank you so much. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. And it's probably a good thing that you couldn't see it because it's quite distracting.
It is. Yeah, no, I actually, and this is something we can maybe talk about in another episode. I have to be very careful about who I bring down to my office to see my collection, because I'm a degenerate, obviously.
We all are.
And, to greater or lesser degrees. So, that's something that I think every figure collector needs to kind of think about is,
Sure.
Whether they want their friends to see their collection, what people think about them after seeing their collection, even if it's not entirely degenerate.
Yeah, it's a societal thing, isn't it? People who don't have an understanding of things make quick judgments, and it can be a kind of risky, on the edge kind of thing. So some people like to cover them up. Some people make accessories to cover up their lewder figures as well. You could put non-lewd wall scrolls in front of your shelf and then take them off when they're gone. Or
That's true.
yeah, food for thought.
Indeed. Perhaps
Cool.
for discussion another time.
Absolutely. Take care, my friend, and we'll speak soon.
All right. Take care.